Hello everybody and welcome to Crazy Fluid Art. Thank you again for joining me for another video. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land where I create, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and those emerging. It is my absolute privilege and pleasure to create on their land. So today I am going to be making a set of 4 coasters, as you can see in this image here. They are a beautiful, what I like to call my snowflake coasters. I hope that you enjoy this video and feel free to like, subscribe and ask any questions or comments in the comment section below. All right, let's get started. So on this coaster I am using a white base. I use a white house paint from my local hardware store. Sometimes it's a bit thick, so I might water it down with some water or sometimes a bit of Joe Sonia, but most of the time it actually flows really well, so I don't have to do too much to it. So the first color I am applying is this little piggy Saphire. She is just a gorgeous blue. Oh, she just shimmers and is absolutely beautiful. The next color I'm applying is this little piggy Sterling, which is a really nice light silvery grey. I love this little piggies. They're just gorgeous pigments and very easy to work with. And then another blue I'm applying, which I think was a bit thick, so I had to go back and water down. I probably have some of these colors sitting around for a while, and if they sit around for a while they can tend to thicken up, so add a little bit of water just to get my consistency right. And I'll do some videos down the track on some consistency and how to get your consistency to where you need it to be to get great cells and great coverage. So that was TLP Waterfall. And then finally I am adding Golden Iridescent Silver. This is one of my most favorite silvers. She just is beautiful, dynamic and really shiny silvery. My house isn't very well centered, so I have to keep leveling. So I've just put my paint back into the center of my coaster, and I'm now adding my white cell activator. And then we give it a bit of a blowout. So blowing is a little bit of a technique I had to perfect, and I've got some great videos which I will share down the track on how not to blow and what happens when you blow the wrong way. My very first coasters, I look back at them going, oh my Lord, I can't believe that's how I used to blow, compared to how I blow now. And even in this video I probably actually blow a little bit better than what I'm doing here. But these coasters are one of my favorite color combinations and favorite set of coasters that I've made, so this is why I'm sharing these with you. So I'm just blowing it out. I'm letting it sit now for about 20 to 30 seconds just to allow the paint to center back into the middle and to allow my cells to develop before I start to spin. And then we spin. The reason why we spin is you want your paint to cover your whole surface, but you also want to remove any excess paint. If you leave too much paint on your surface, when it dries unevenly, which then puts at risk of things like cracks appearing or it peeling. Oops, I just had a bit of an accident there where it didn't secure and flew off into the ether. It's always fun when that happens, as long as it doesn't fly too far. I love my spinner that I've got here. It was $10 at my local thrift shop. And I've just used a Fluid Art Co mat, which I've cut to size to help secure and make it non-slip, which obviously it didn't happen because I probably spun it a bit too hard. But the spinner's great because if I do lose my tile, it doesn't fly meters away because it's got about a centimetre and a half edge, which is also great because you can see I've got a bit of paint spin off here. It stops that paint spin off flying everywhere and all over my surfaces. So it was $10. I have a couple of spares so that when this one dies I've got an extra one ready to use. And look, there's our first coaster. Absolutely beautiful. I will give this surface a clean and we'll start again. So we go on again to another coaster, and I will layer when I do a set of coasters, I will layer them identically. Sometimes I will mix it up a little bit, depending on what I'm trying to do, but majority of the time I keep my layering the same. I do have some videos that I'll be putting together down the track on how to layer and what happens when you layer this way or layer that way. Or when I first started, I used to just put dots, and I used to just drop my paint in exactly the same spot. Whereas, as you can see with this coaster, I do squiggles and swirls and spread the paint in different ways. And when you do that, you find that the way the cells and the paint spreads is much more unique than when you just put it all on top of each other. But I've got some videos that will be coming up that show you what the difference between layering it in blobs and layering it in swirls, or putting your blue, then your silver in your blue, or your silver, your blue, your silver, or layering different colors, so that you can see why we layer, how we layer, and why layering in certain patterns is really important, especially when you're looking at things like opaque paints. So we're just putting on our iridescent silver here. As you can see, it's gone off to the side, so I'm going to have to center her back into the middle before I put my CA on. Or am I putting my CA on first? Nope, I'm centering it. So we're going to center it back in the middle. And the reason I center it back is because when I spin it off, if I don't have my paint centered, it's just going to go off to one side, and then I'm going to have to move the tile to another area so that the spin becomes more central. So we're going to give it a bit of a blow again here. So I blow in my center, and I start down close and then slowly lift my head up as I blow. And then once I've got my center blow, I then blow the directional out where I want the paint to flow. So usually sometimes I go just to the corners. In this one, I'm just doing it all around, kind of like a bit of a flowery look about it. And that just gets your cells more universal, more around, so that when you spin, you've got a really good coverage of paint and cellular activity. So just adding a few little drops, making sure where I've got big blobs of cell activator, I'm blowing that out a little bit to add a few more cells in there. Again, we let it sit to allow the paint to come back to the center, and then it'll spin much more firmly and much nicely. So we're going to come and we're going to give her a spin. Let's see if this one spins off the surface area. So again, I probably haven't used as much paint on my base, so I'm not having a lot of runoff. But you can see here we're just getting all the excess off. Probably not really needing to spin too much more. I use a heat gun to pop any air bubbles, so that those air bubbles aren't popping while the paint's drying and leaving little blobs of holes or craters. And then we give it another spin so that those little air bubbles that might have brought some white base paint through get sort of moved around a little bit. And voila, there we have another beautiful coaster. So I'm going to leave you to it to watch the last two coasters being made. I'll speed them up a little bit because it's pretty much similar. But I hope you've really enjoyed this video and these gorgeous snowflake coasters. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, any comments, please do not hesitate to ask. I will answer every comment and question that is posed towards me. And happy painting. Thank you again.